everybody, and welcome to another edition of Mogul Realty Group's Tip Tuesday, where we talk to different experts from the industry about all things real estate. And we are privileged enough to have Bobby from BDC Homes come to talk to us about one of my personal favorite topics, which is infill development. He's going to be talking to us about and from his experience building laneway houses here in the amazing city of Vancouver and the Lower Mainland. So, Bobby, I know that there are things that people need to know when they're starting to embark on a journey, and things that they need to know when it comes to thinking about what to do with this whole laneway house thing. So, we're going to talk about some tips, things people need to know. So welcome. Maybe tell us a little bit about BDC Homes, and let's get right into the stuff people want to hear.
Thanks, James. Good to be here this Tuesday afternoon. BDC Homes Inc. We are your go-to laneway home provider, duplex, multifamily, and large renovation organization.
hmm I love it. Yeah, these guys are some of the best in the business. I've known Bobby for quite some time, and I've seen his work. It's fantastic, which is why I invited him to Tip Tuesday to tell us how to get yourself in the right headspace and the right organization to do a project like he does. So, Bobby, what would you say one of the first tips you would give somebody when it comes to starting down the journey towards building a laneway home?
Feasibility. So simply put, I think understanding your lot size. What is the property that you're situated on? What
hmm
is the municipality allowing on those properties? James, you mentioned infill, and that's another thing too, is know what we're getting yourselves into. Infills are different than laneway homes because they can be sold, for example, but that might be a topic for next Tuesday. To digress, really, I think understanding your lot size, things like setbacks, what does that mean? How far is your home away from the front of the property line? Where does the property line sit at the sides, at the back? Where would the laneway home be actually situated? Do we have the right distances? So if we think about the city of Vancouver, we're talking about 16 feet
Got
from
it.
your main house to where the laneway protrusions can be beginning and starting from, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. So maybe a tip is just get out that tape measure and know your numbers so that you know exactly what kind of a footprint you're dealing with. Because wouldn't it be a bummer to start doing all of this planning and budgeting and you can't even build what you wanted to build?
Yeah, and then while you're doing that, figure out the trees. I mean, trees are a big thing, especially in Vancouver and most municipalities that we've been in. Trees are, we want that greenery. We want save those trees, and we don't want to end up in a situation where we're doing a suspended slab to preserve a tree. I mean, if your goals align to going that far, then we can accommodate that. But understand your trees. So what you're after doing is kind of your mini survey of your own. Where does your house sit? Where is it from the front of the property line? And where would the laneway potentially be at the back? When you're doing that, measure in your hydro pole. Where is power coming from? And then
Mm,
the other piece to measure off is where does your home's connections go to? So where's the water coming from? Where's the gas? Where is your storm, rainwater, and sanitary gray water going? Because those are all going to be really key to situating that laneway and to see, can we get it connected?
yeah, it makes perfect sense. Now, you know what? I'm going to go off on a bit of a tangent, but I'm always been curious about this because I know trees in Vancouver. Well, the reason Vancouver gets a reputation for hugging trees is because it's hard to cut one down around here. So, what are the rules around removing a tree from a property versus when you have to work around one?
All depends on its location. So, and I guess the other piece is on what are we looking to build. So, if your home, after your survey is done, like a full home, is situated and there's a tree there, due to design of the home or how they allow you to build it, they may allow you to take it down and replace it with one or two trees, and they have some parameters of having a deposit to make sure you replace that tree, and then having a minimum size of tree and type of tree. When it comes to a laneway, it's a little bit different because now you're building additional square footage into the property, so the rules will be different there.
Got it. Got it. Well, that makes perfect sense. And you know what? It's another tape measure situation. Know the size of the tree and what can and can't be done with it. So, it's like when you're building a checklist for a project, check on those trees, make sure that box is checked. Otherwise, it's just you don't want to run into a hurdle before you even really get it off the ground. So what
Yeah.
are we're thinking about building one of these laneway houses. That's a really good part of the discussion. What else should people be really cognizant about when they are starting down the path towards looking at building one of these things?
Yeah, great question. So I guess tip two for today would be around starting early. Like you said, get the tape measure out, have your own personal survey done. I mean, we can't rely on that from a building or design perspective, but it gives you some idea. And great partners like you, James, and the folks in your office, we do some sketches like that over coffee. Is this property going to be feasible? Can we get 2 lots out of it? We've done these things. So similarly with homeowners, we'll sit down and we'll say, okay, well, let's take a look at where we're at using, van maps as a tool, for example.
Mm.
They'll give you some setbacks and rough measurements. And then, working with the professionals. So start early. I'm a big proponent of starting early and engaging your realtor. So if this is a build project, like an infill for sale, let's have the realtor on board to understand what that means from a marketability perspective. What is a spec we're building? And then hire and interview some builders, interview some GCs, and a design build shop the way we are situated is a nice way to do it. It's turnkey. And then having the right architect and consulting. So I'll share with you that, whether it's a laneway or a duplex or a custom home in Vancouver in particular, we have, I think, about 6 or 7 consultants involved. So those need to be all coordinated. And having a good architect team or a designing team that can manage that flow is really critical.
That's amazing. Well, proactivity is one of those things that interweaves through all businesses. But, then the question is, well, what do I need to be proactive on? It's easy to say start early, but I appreciate that you went into the details of like what you need to do early, not just start. Start early is not really a tip. What do we start early on? That was a great question to answer. So I appreciate that. And do you have a third tip up your sleeve for us today on laneway housing?
Yeah, share your vision. Like, talk about it inside your home. I think a lot of people, and I'll give the example of financing. Most of us are afraid to look at the numbers and dig deep into them. And we usually, oh, we're too busy for it. Oh, it'll be fine. I'll get the mortgage. I'll get the loan. I think we need to have that internal conversation inside of your home, inside of the family group, of how are we going to afford this? What is the move there? So share that vision internally of what we want to build. How does it get structured financially, as well as the actual build out? And what does it look like? So create an idea book, do it on Pinterest, do it on house.com, do it on MLS, print them out, print out listings or addresses so that when you engage with your design team, you're already prepared.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. Well, Bobby, thanks for showing up with 3 amazing tips when it comes to laneway houses. I mean, if we can summarize, for me the takeaway was number 1, get to know the property itself with the measurements, the size, the dimensions, what the city will allow, so that you know what can be possible on the lot. Just measuring everything out to make sure that it'll fit. Number 2 is start early in a bunch of different categories that you outlined, and the third tip is share that vision. Really think about what you want, talk it out, visualize it, and have it crystallize. So 3 great ways to start thinking about getting a laneway house going, because in Vancouver, they're an excellent addition to a lot of the properties in this area. And for those of you that are watching, if you're thinking about building one, just Bobby, you're just so generous with your time. Give Bobby a call and he'll talk to you about what's doable on your lot, and you can see what those 3 tips look like in action. So Bobby, thanks again for popping in and talking laneway houses with me today. Vancouver, great market. Bobby, have yourself a great day.
Thanks, James. Appreciate it. Bye for now.